And you can just allow your bolster to support your knees or your blanket to support your knees. And keeping the block close by, let's just reach with the arms and take a nice full body stretch. And take a few breaths that allow you to notice your breath. And notice the rise of your ribcage. And keeping the curvature in the low back for a few breaths. Notice that as you draw the navel in without rooting your low back, you can stretch your belly. So reaching to the interior of the abdomen. And then just relaxing the low back, releasing your arms to the side comfortably, and pausing in your practice for a moment. Taking time to thank yourself for arriving, for setting aside this time to practice with yourself. Knowing the practice itself isn't about enlightenment. And the practice is about getting to know you and embracing the you-ness that is the divine essence of purity and spaciousness. Essentially getting to know the authentic being that is you. And on this journey, transcending the various levels of consciousness. And so in yoga, we do this by working through our stuff, working through the physical pains in the body, working through the emotional pains in the body. And welcoming the element of kindness and softness, a more gentle nature. And then reaching the arms again, bringing a gentle elevation to the chin. See if you can interlace your fingers and start to bring the knees towards the belly. And just letting them float for a moment, beginning to shift the body from side to side, massaging across the low back. And then carefully stepping your feet to whatever you have there, whatever kind of prop you've chosen today. And continuing to shift from side to side with your knees. Letting the knees drop deeper. Maybe taking the feet wider, experiencing that internal rotation. And the next time you come to center, take the interlaced fingers and place them behind your head and elevate your head. And just taking 3 breaths here. And as you exhale your next breath, release your arms out to the sides and let your head rest back to the earth. And move your head from side to side. And try and turn your head all the way to one shoulder and then the other. And if you have a block nearby, let's see if we can place that underneath the base of the skull. Please use the lowest level of the block. And place it right at the very edge of the skull. As you release your arms out to the sides, come back to moving your head slowly from one side to the other. And exhale only through the mouth. Releasing the jaw, relaxing the tongue. And then allowing your head to rest fully to the right side. Just pausing there. Sinking heavy into the skull. And then release your right leg straight. And fully relax the right side of the body. Maybe allowing the left knee to drop slightly inward. And just feel everything collapsing to the right side. The heaviness of the skull and the neck. Feel the heaviness across the right shoulder and down the right arm. Releasing the right lung, softening the rib cage. Extending all the way down from the hip to the bottom of your foot. Right side of the body sinking towards the earth. And let your mind be clear, focused on just your breath. Notice the soft whisper of the exhalation, encouraging you to sink deeper into the right side. And in the slowest way, start to roll your head back to center. And notice the difference between the right side of the skull and the left side. Still releasing the right side of the body. And then begin to reach with your right arm and also reach with your right leg. And see if you can point and flex the foot. Maybe move the wrist around, move the fingers around. And carefully stepping the right foot back to the top of your bolster, releasing the right arm out. Let your head shift fully to the left side. And release your left leg out. Welcoming that great heaviness to the left side of the skull. And a great heaviness to the left shoulder and the arm. Releasing your left lung and relaxing the left side rib cage. Still exhaling through the mouth. Releasing the left hip all the way down to the bottom of your left foot. Release your jaw. Just sinking into the block and sinking into the earth. And the slowest movement, allowing the head to roll back to center. And just breathing there. Still releasing and relaxing the left side. And then carefully reaching with your left arm and reaching with your left leg. Move your fingers, move your toes. And extending your right leg, reaching with both arms now. See if you can clasp your elbows or your forearms and let your arms hang heavy. Just welcoming a heaviness to the shoulders. And then releasing the arms out to the sides. Let's just move the head again to the left side and to the right side, noticing any residual sensations there. And then carefully removing your block and stepping your feet back to the surface of your prop. Let's place the block underneath the hips at the lowest level. And once you arrive, make sure that your sacrum is fully supported. And take the arms back out and then rock from side to side. Collapsing over the edges of the block, rocking from side to side. And see if you can lean towards the right side and just pause there for a few moments. And give yourself permission to release any tension that you might be experiencing. So softening the muscles that surround the right hip. Come back to the exhalations through the mouth. Right, letting go. Letting go and releasing. And then very slowly make your way back to center. And make sure that you're fully supported again on this block. And then tip yourself over to the left side. And again, letting go. Releasing into the breath. Sinking heavily into the left hip. And then very carefully come back and readjust if you need to. And then pull the knees in towards the belly and float for a moment, feeling a greater heaviness across your shoulders. Relax your abdomen. Relax all the muscles of your face. Heavy along your spine. And then see if you can step your right foot to the outside of your prop. Step your left foot back to the surface of your bolster or whatever you have there. Letting the right knee drop in. Let's take 4 full breaths here. And as the right knee is dropping in, I want you to notice your left shoulder blade. And very consciously release your left shoulder blade. And release the left side of your face. And then take in a breath. Elevate your right knee and place your right foot back to the center. And stepping the left foot to the outside of your prop and letting the left knee drop in. And as the left knee is dropping in, focus on your right shoulder blade. Sinking even heavier into the right shoulder and right shoulder blade. And very carefully, invite your breath. Invite your left knee back. Stepping both feet to your prop. Reach your arms in length and stretch your spine. Elevate your chin. Work on your upper back. Inhale, creating curvature. And as you exhale, press into your shoulder blades. Try that 2 more times. And then bringing your hands down, let's remove the block. And as you set it off to the side, stretch your legs out over the top of your bolster or blankets. Release your arms to the sides and just remain very still. Noticing a balance between the left and right side of the skull. And the balance between the left and right shoulder. The left and right hip in balance. Legs extending outward, releasing. Release your belly. Release the muscles of your face. And even heavier in the arms begin to deepen that breath. And reaching the arms in length again. And carefully draw the right knee in. You're more than welcome to hold on top of the knee, or you can hold underneath the knee. That's up to you. Just letting the knee collapse towards the body. Keep your breath soft. Slowly easing deeper into this pose. Honoring the slow shift and change. And very slowly use your hands now to massage the right knee around in circles. And change the direction of that movement. And then simply extending the right leg out, taking a full body stretch. And pulling your left knee in, giving the left knee a squeeze. And again, that might be on top of the knee, it might be underneath the knee. Unclenching the muscles that surround the left hip. Just allowing that compression to deepen. And then in the slowest way, starting to massage, left knee around in circles. In the opposite direction. releasing your left leg, taking that full body stretch again. And this might take a little bit of adjusting, so take your time. Step your feet to the outside of your prop and turn it long ways. Once you turn it long ways, you're going to reach underneath and bring it underneath your spine to support your hips, and maybe moving it high enough to support your upper back. And once you arrive there, keep your feet on the earth. And notice the curvature of your spine, but the supportiveness there. And begin to breathe deeply into your lungs. Try to expand the back of your nostrils. And one by one, bring your knees in towards your belly and stay supported on your prop. If comfortable, extend your legs to the sky, making sure that your legs are hip width distance. You can keep your knees bent if you need to. See if we can allow this inversion for maybe 5 full breaths. So staying calm, still breathing. And if your legs are fully extended, please bend your knees. Stepping the feet back to the earth. Reaching with your arms again, stretching along your spine. And then carefully walk your feet closer so that you're on the ball of your foot. As you elevate your hips, turn your prop sideways. And once you turn your prop sideways, we're going to allow just our hips to be supported. And then stretch your legs out, maybe one at a time. So you can stretch one and just breathe there for a little bit. If you're comfortable, stretching both at the same time. And tug on your belly a little bit, tug on your abdomen a little bit. And see if you can stretch your lungs. If you are working on extending only one leg, please alternate to the other leg. And let's reach with the arms one more time. And then carefully step your feet back to the earth. And if you have that prop underneath your back still, press your feet, elevate, and move it completely off to the side. Keep your feet on the mat here. Draw your head further away from your hips so that you're rooted in your back, and let your knees drop inward. Let's stay here for a few moments, just allowing that internal rotation and the rootedness along the spine. And then very carefully rolling to whichever side of the body is suitable for you. Let's make our way up to tabletop. And once you arrive in tabletop, just begin to move your spine, doing a few rounds of cat-cow. Stretching into the shoulders and the low back. And maybe taking your knees a little bit wider on the mat, you can bring your feet together. Rest yourself back for child's pose. That might be on the forearms. You might decide to use a prop to support your forehead, or you might allow your forehead to reach towards the earth. Very consciously find the balance, releasing your left shin bone and releasing your right shin bone. Releasing the bottom of your belly. Feeling the heaviness of your hips. And then carefully elevate your gaze, starting to walk your arms forward. And then rising up to a tabletop again. Readjust your knees closer together. Make your way all the way to your belly. Walking your elbows forward. And move your head from side to side. And let that move all the way down into the low back. then step your feet a little bit wider and your knees a little bit wider. Stack your arms over each other, mainly your palms, and rest your forehead on your palms. As you bend your knees, let your heels sway from side to side. And you might take your knees a little bit wider, one by one. And then drop the bottom of your feet together like butterfly pose. And start to let your feet travel away, but let your feet stay together. Very conscious exhalations through the mouth. And then bringing your heels back towards your glute muscles. Readjusting your knees closer together. As you release your left leg out, we're going to look over to the right side. Carry your belly and your shoulders over to the right side. Bring your right knee out to the side until your right knee moves towards your right elbow. And rest your head either down or maybe resting on the left side of your head. Just breathing there. And very carefully elevate your head, walk your shoulders back in, releasing the right leg back. Tuck your toes, support yourself on your forearms, and elevate your shin bones. Call some length into the spine, stretching from your hip sockets forward. And then release your knees and your shins. And we'll carry our left knee over to the left side. And carry your shoulders and your elbows as well. Rest your head. And we'll stay for about 7 breaths. And very carefully invite your breath. Release your left leg, bring your shoulders and your torso back. Walk your hands next to your rib cage now and press up and back to child's pose. And then move forward to any variation of upward facing dog. Start to move your breath and move your hips and move your spine. Just a few more times. And then carefully draw the knees forward and have a seat. We're going to come down to our back and take another full body stretch. Let's pull the right knee in again, and as you squeeze the right knee in, send your left leg to the sky. Work on pointing and flexing the left foot. And rotating the ankle. And then stepping your left foot to the earth, cross your right ankle over your left knee. Take your hands out to the sides and maybe rocking a little bit from side to side. And at some point, just settling to the center of that in stillness. If you would like to interlace your fingers behind your left quad, holding the glute or the shin, you're more than welcome to. Otherwise, just allowing the left foot to remain on the earth. And then if your hands are interlaced behind your left leg, please release. Stepping the foot back to the earth, rock again from side to side. And then releasing the right leg. Take a full body stretch, both arms and legs reaching. Pulling the left knee in towards your belly, giving that a squeeze. Sending the right leg to the sky. And work on pointing and flexing, rotating the right ankle. And as you set your right foot down, you're going to cross your left ankle over the right knee. Perhaps interlacing your fingers behind the right hamstring, or maybe on the shin bone. You decide. And as you release your hands, if you're grasping, place your right foot and then rocking from side to side. And then stepping the left foot to the earth and rocking from side to side. And we'll cross our ankles and roll along the spine. Try to roll along your spine at least 3 times. And the last time that you roll up, we're going to just find our prop again, using your bolster or your blankets, and place that underneath your knees. And carefully shift your sits bones back slightly, taking the bottom of your feet together and your knees out to the sides, and very passively fold forward. Start to exhale through the mouth. And rising up, reach your hands to the sky. Take your palms back behind you with your fingers facing your hips. Bring your knees together. Extend your legs And open up your shoulders. Maybe taking the head back and forward a few times. And then pressing back to your fingertips, readjust your hips slightly closer to your prop. As you come down to your back, we're going to take reclined butterfly pose. So the bottom of your feet are together and the knees can rest out to the sides. If you are more comfortable extending your feet over the edge of your prop, that's okay too. Try and walk your shoulder blades slightly closer. And make sure that your arms are extended outward with your palms facing up. Maybe start with some movement of the head from side to side. Coming back into those slow, thoughtful exhalations through the mouth. Releasing the back of the skull and the back of the neck. Releasing the back of the shoulders and down the arms. Allowing your head to find a central space. Notice the center of your palms. The pulsation of energy there. Take a moment to bring your palms together and rub your hands briskly until you generate some heat. And once you have generated heat in the center of your palms, place your palms over your eyes and rest your fingers towards the crown of the head. Just feeling the weight of the hands over the eyes. Breathing deeply in and out through the nose. Feel the gentle pressure around the eye socket and the cheekbone. Just a few more breaths. And keeping your eyes closed, release your palms back to the sides. And fall into the breath. If you need to readjust your legs at any time, you're more than welcome. Otherwise, fall into your breath. And very slowly come back to your breath, allowing it to be wakeful. Begin to move your head from side to side. Taking your time to reach the arms overhead. Separating your toes and bringing the knees back. Stretching your legs out. Stretching the spine. And as you release your hands, step your feet back to your prop. Rock from side to side. And carefully roll to whichever side suits you. And pause for a moment there. And very carefully help yourself up to some kind of seated pose. And as you bring your hands together before your heart, bow to that internal space. And thank yourself for the time, awareness, and attention you brought your being. And knowing the connectedness to all beings and all things, I thank you for sharing your practice. Namaste.